Max had heard rumors of the old nuclear plant on the outskirts of town for years. It was said that back in the 80s, something went horribly wrong, a containment failure that was covered up and then abandoned both the plant and the people who disappeared inside it. The plant now sat rotting under decades of rust, a hulking metal corpse, whispering to those foolish enough to venture near it. Curiosity, though, was Max's fatal flaw. When his friend dared him to explore it, he couldn't resist. With only a dim flashlight and a handheld Geiger counter, he slipped through the chain-link fence, heart hammering. The air inside was stale and metallic, every sound muffled, yet amplified at the same time. Max took in the crumbling walls, dangling wires, and the low hum of machines long silent. As he stepped deeper into the core of the plant, his flashlight cast eerie shadows, his only companions in the vast emptiness. Then, his Geiger counter crackled to life, clicking sporadically. Max paused, swallowing hard. He was well aware that the only thing left in this place should be old ghosts and radioactive dust. So why was there movement? He quickened his pace, scanning for the path to the containment chamber. But the maze, like halls, twisted and turned, all identical. Panic gripped him as he realized he was utterly, hopelessly lost. He froze when he heard something tapping, sharp and slow, echoing from around a corner. Max held his breath, the flashlight trembling in his grip. "Hello," he called out, voice hollow in the oppressive silence. A soft shuffling, then silence. The temperature plummeted, and his breath fogged in front of him, heart thudding. He rounded the corner to see nothing, only a dark hall stretching into infinity, illuminated by his weak beam. Then, out of the corner of his eye, something flickered, a shadow slipping into a room to his left. Max's feet moved before he could think. He darted after it, only to stop short at the door. Inside, the walls were scrawled with hastily scrawled messages. "Get out. Help me. They re-still here." Each word was streaked in a reddish-brown stain, faded but still sickeningly vibrant. A gust of stale air hit him, carrying with it the faintest sound a human whisper, hissing just inches from his ear. "Why did you come here?" Max stumbled back, nearly dropping his flashlight. He whipped it around wildly, illuminating nothing but more twisted metal and concrete. His fingers brushed his Geiger counter, and it was then that he noticed the crackling had shifted. It was no longer sporadic but steady, and growing louder. Terrified, he ran, down corridor after corridor, following what he thought was the path back to the entrance. But the halls stretched endlessly, twisting and folding back on themselves. The walls seemed to press closer, shadows stretching out like skeletal hands. He rounded a final corner and skidded to a halt. There, in front of him, was the containment chamber. The Geiger counter shrieked. With a shuddering breath, Max crept forward, unable to resist the magnetic pull of whatever lay beyond. The chamber door was slightly ajar, cold air seeping out, thick with the smell of decay. He nudged it open and shone his light inside. Rows of bodies, frozen in the last throes of agony, were slumped against the walls and sprawled across the floor. The air was thick, tangible with a feeling of rage and fear. The remains of workers and scientists stared at him with hollow eye sockets, jaws frozen in silent screams. Max backed away, his heart pounding so hard he felt it in his throat. Then, he felt a hand gripping his shoulder, icy and firm. He spun around, but no one was there. The whispers started again, louder this time, filling the chamber. They chanted in overlapping voices, a chorus of the lost you shouldn't have come. You belong with us now. Max bolted, lungs burning, the Geiger counter screaming in his hand as if the very air were alive. The whispers grew louder, chasing him down the twisting hallways, their intensity swelling until it was all he could hear, drowning his own thoughts. At last he saw the doorway ahead, a sliver of freedom. He pushed forward, chest heaving, ignoring the relentless cries and whispers pulling him back. But just as he reached the exit, he felt a sudden, violent pull backward. His flashlight hit the ground, flickering once before darkness consumed him entirely. The next morning, his friend returned to the plant, searching for him. The only sign of Max was his flashlight, lying abandoned in the doorway, flickering on and off as if warning those who dared approach. And in the distance, faint and almost musical, echoed the sound of a Geiger counter,